does it feel to be back, Neil?
Brilliant. Really excited about the whole sort of venture. Really enjoyed the last couple of months of the season, working back in Scotland. So got my taste buds going, and obviously the owner was very impressive with what he has in mind for the club, and that was a big sort of point in my thinking about taking the job on.
You said the club had got under your skin, so there wasn't much doubt you were coming back.
No. I mean, obviously negotiations, took a few days to get over the line, but that was the only sort of reason there was a delay, if you want to call it that. But we'd always sort of more or less agreed in principle at the end of the season that we would take it on.
Is the owner's sort of ambition and drive for the club, was that the main sort of selling point for you to?
Yeah, one of the main selling points, but I also liked what I saw. I think there's work to be done, and I think at this stage in my career it's really good to have something I can really get my teeth into regarding building the club, player recruitment, building the team to make us far more competitive in the league this year.
Everybody talks about Dunfermline as a big club potential and all that kind of thing, so is that exciting for you to try and sort of build upon that and try and take the club forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was really impressed with the crowds, the attendances last year, even though the performances or the position that we found ourselves wasn't ideal. We're still getting roughly around 5,000-6,000 for those type of games. Now, if you can improve your league position, then obviously I think the crowds will get bigger. There is a huge catchment area here. It is a really good location as well. I think when I look at the youth players that we have as well, they've done really well over the last couple of years. So we want to develop them and produce some of our homegrown players on top of the ones that we obviously want to bring in as well.
What's your remit here for next season? And during those discussions, did you get the assurances that you needed from the club that you'll be given what you need to achieve what you want here?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want to take the club into the Premier League, but whether we can do it in 1 year remains to be seen. It's going to be very difficult because of the competition. Also, there are 2 Premier League teams came down, Ross County and St Johnstone, so that makes the league even more competitive. But obviously, we want to improve hugely on our consistency from last year and be in and around it. I don't think the actual premise is you have to get promotion straight away. I think everyone's realistic about that, but what we want to do is be in and around it, from the start of the season till the end.
What is it exactly about this club that made you want to stay here permanently after that short spell that you had?
I think the people, good people around the place, and the potential of the club. But it's not like, when I took over Hibs, I took over a team that had won the cup. There was a big platform there to build on. This is a different rebuild altogether. There's a lot more work needs to be done on it in and around the club, and the facility wise, but more importantly, the shape of the team and the quality of the player that I want to bring in.
Can I just ask you as well, yesterday was Stephen Presley was confirmed as a Dundee boss, next teammate of yours. There was mixed reviews to that from the Dundee fans, but what do you see in him that makes you think that he'll get them on side once the season begins? He's a good coach, and he's worked with Brentford for a long time with the players underneath the first team, so that's a vast experience to have. Obviously he'll have contacts as well, good contacts in the game, and he'd bring a brand of football that I think people want to see. So he's intelligent, believe it or not, dresses well. No, but I think he's a very good coach, and I think it's a really good appointment, and he's been out of the game, he's hungry. I think he'll want to make a statement, and obviously Gordon knows him very well from his time at Celtic as well, and I think he's got a good presence and a good way about him, Stephen, so I wish him well.
You brought in a player yesterday, Charlie Gilmore. How far advanced are you in your search for a new squad for next season?
Well, we're working away at the minute, I've had conversations with a number of players already who we've identified, and hoping to get over the line in the next sort of few days, and then I'm getting calls from agents from all over the UK about players. So yeah, I mean, look, it's not going to be a quick sort of get 10 players in and be done with. there's a lot of work, a lot of diligence being done, and obviously the James himself with his staff underneath are working really hard to identify the type of players that we want as well.
Data analysis. Like
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a system that he finds works, but not every player is going to be brought in on data analysis, but there will be, you know, we look at the numbers, obviously, first and foremost. And then, you know, like, for example, I went to see Charlie play a couple of weeks ago, Lakeland. If you look at what Jeremiah's brought, you know, since he came in, he's been outstanding signing, and we've got really high hopes for him. And then you've got the likes of Bray and Connor Young, who have really sort of, you know, young players who want to make a mark here at Dunfermline. And then I want to sprinkle it with a bit of quality and a bit of experience as well.
Is that the key, just to get the blend between a bit of youth and a bit of experience, obviously, for the
Yeah.
championship?
Yeah, but first of all, they have to be good players and have to have the talent, and I want them to be robust, so I want them available for games, you know, not pulling out with, you know, soft tissue injuries or stuff like that. So it's really important that we have a really strong pre-season in that aspect as well, and get them really ready for what's going to be a very attritional season again.
Chris Hamilton's one that signed a new contract. Is there anything you can tell us on some of the other players that were here last season that you've been in discussions with?
Well, Oakley Booth, you know, Tashin, you know, really like him. I thought he was outstanding in the last game against Morton. He got injured in the first game I was here and didn't really play much due to the injury. But when he did play in the last game, I thought he showed all the qualities that he can do. He needs to do that more, but there's talent there. You know, Cooper's another one that we think could, you know, bring something to the team and have a good pre-season, which, you know, he's came from part-time football, you know, and his first season, it was difficult making the adjustment, but he's got talent, so he needs to have a good pre-season. And obviously Hammy, we know, will be a really good one. He gets the club. You know, it's always important to have players who understand the culture of the club. And I think he brings a bit of drive and a love for the club as well. I always think it's important to have those type of players. Allied to that, he's a good player, and he will be needed as the season goes on.